Okay, here you go. It's the best beef jerky recipe ever. First thing you need is a couple pieces of meat. Don't worry about getting like super top sirloin or anything like that. It doesn't make any sense to buy a nice tender cut of meat when you're gonna dry it out and make it chewy and rubbery anyway. I like to use regular top round, see not too much marbling, not a whole lot of fat to trim. Need a good sharp knife, tenderizer mallet. Simple. Take our meats out. Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure you trim off any of the fat and kind of gristly rough stuff. As you can see here. Just give it a quick little trim. Try to get as much off as you can. It really makes a big difference. Then, depending on how you like it, thick or thin, is how you slice it. I prefer to slice the steak in half first. I slice mine the long way, like this, so that when you have a strip at the end, the grain goes this way. That way you don't have to wrestle with it and rip your teeth out trying to eat it. So the first thing we're going to do is cut it off in nice thin slices, kind of like the thickness of uncooked bacon works best for me. Alright, so once you get all your steaks, whether it's one steak or two steaks, all cut up into little strips like this, now it's time to make the marinade. Here's the recipe now. Measurements are approximate. Obviously put more of your favorite stuff, less of the stuff you don't like. I have here a 1/4 cup measuring cup, so you can kind of watch and see how that stacks up. Come in a little closer and get this. So I'm going to start with Worcestershire. Has to be Lee and Perrins. There's simply no substitute. I'm going to put in approximately a 1/2 cup, so that'll be like 2 of these. Now the most important thing here is making sure you have enough marinade for all the meat that you cut. Yeah. Right, so that's a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire. I'm going to do probably half of that of soy sauce. Looks like I only have a little bit left anyway, which is fine. Soy sauce. Then we're going to do some maple syrup, about that much. And again, all these are just according to taste. If you really love maple syrup, do a lot of maple syrup. We're going to do some honey. About like that. We are going to do liquid smoke, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, just a little bit, because this stuff's really strong. That's plenty. Then, let's put that, we got that, and that. I'm going to do a little bit of salt. You don't want to do too much salt, because the soy sauce has some salt in it. Worcestershire has a little bit of salt in it. So I'm going to do roughly half a tablespoon or so of salt. I'm going to do about half a tablespoon of black pepper as well. I'm going to do about a half a tablespoon of onion powder. There we go. About a half a tablespoon of garlic powder. Yeah, maybe 3/4. I like garlic. And we got some cayenne pepper. And we're going to do about 1/4 tablespoon. And again, just a rough estimate. There's that. And a tiny bit of chili powder. A little less than 1/4 tablespoon. Last but not least, I'm going to do 2 big tablespoons of brown sugar. After that, we are going to add some crushed red pepper. Not a whole lot, but just enough to get kind of stuck on there. About that many. It looks like probably about a tablespoon. That should get us in there. Once you have it all in one place, give it a good whisk mix. And that is your marinade. So once your marinade's all done and the meat's already cut, come on in close, what I like to do is I like to take it with just your average tenderizer mallet with the pointy end. We're just going to kind of poke it full of holes here. This is going to let the marinade really soak in. Get a good close shot of that. Alright, throw it right in there. Get a good close one of those too. Alright, so we pound it out flat. This is also going to help the thickness be a little more uniform, so the drying time stays a little more consistent. You don't want to take it out of the dehydrator and have some that are overdone and others that are underdone. So this helps to kind of monitor the thickness of it. And into the marinade they go one by one until they're all done. Alright, so once you get all of your flattening and tenderizing finished, just throw them all in the bowl with the marinade. Now you want to make sure you take a minute. You want to make sure you take a minute once it's all, or as it's going, and get them all mixed up real good. You want to make sure that all the pieces are as uniformly covered as possible. So once you have all the meat cut, pounded, and soaked in the marinade, we're going to go ahead and get it all into a freezer bag where it's going to obviously do all the marinating for about 24 hours. Now I think you could probably get away with a little less than that, but 24 hours seems to work pretty well for me. And I try to get in there and flip the bag over about every 8 hours or so, just to make sure that everything gets nice, even coverage. So zip it up. Try to get as much of the air out as we can. It's going to go into the fridge like this, and then about every 8 hours we're just going to reach into the fridge, give it a flip like that until tomorrow night, then we'll put it in the dehydrator. So once it's been marinating 24 hours, we're going to dump it out into a bowl, so it's easier to work with that way. I usually like to give it one more little mix up just to get every piece nice and wet, and then one by one I start laying them on the racks. I try to keep them fairly evenly spaced. Just like that, and then once they're all on there, we'll throw them in the cooker. Alright, so once you have them all laid out on the trays, obviously you just stack the trays up, or depending on what kind of dehydrator you're using. In this case, I am using a Nesco dehydrator, square one. This one is 700 watts. Yours might be different. In a 700 watt dehydrator like this one, this batch of jerky should take in between 3 and 4 hours. So we'll get it going. Put the top on like that. Obviously make sure it's set to your jerky setting, which in this case is 160 degrees, and we'll see you in a few hours.